expect clouds is this?
How dare you mock me, Zeus, Lord of Olympus?
Huh. Okay, not what I was expecting after zombies. My first customer being a Greek god isn't so bad, I suppose. But we're not quite fully open yet, sir.
I require a leader. One who can command legions of soldiers into battle, against other pantheons. As I, Zeus, am too busy with other problems right now. And please don't ask why I am using a text-to-speech, I'll smite you if you dare ask.
Oh, which one this time? Raid Station or Mouse Movies?
What?
Nothing. Anyway, why exactly do you come to me to help? I'm literally just a maid running a cafe.
You see, fair lady, you have the strength of what the kids nowadays call strategy games, which is why I brought you this.
So you want me to train my commanding skills by playing Age of Mythology? Zeus?
Well,
Zeus.
I just can't get past the Egyptian levels, it's too difficult. Please help me beat it.
At the request of Zeus, as well as the end result of the straw poll I put out, thank you whoever voted, looks like we're going to be going through Age of Mythology Extended Edition, which is an enhanced version of the base game of Age of Mythology, which, seeming that I got the full version of it, also includes some of the DLC and some modern integration such as Steam Workshop support. There's two sides to this game, the online mode as well as the campaign modes, which also include a tutorial mode in the campaign segment, for those who want to get to grips with real-time strategy games, that is. To keep this game in a more manageable state, I'm going to separate each individual part of the first campaign into 3 individual videos, starting with this one, the Greek segment, which is the beginning of Fall of the Trident. We start our story with Arkantos, having either some dream or a nightmare of fighting old enemies. While it defeats a generic Anubis enemy who gets given a name, I can't remember what, from the Egyptian faction, Athena shows up, giving him an ominous message.
And you are still the one who will face them.
Yes.
These are enemies unlike the others, Arkantos. Do not let your guard down. Dark times are coming, and you are needed. Arkantos, awaken.
Yes.
Upon this, a loading screen, we arrive in Atlantis, which currently is under siege from pirates and giant squids, octopus, krakens, I can't remember which using pre-made units you can easily dispatch of.
The black sails are fleeing.
After doing this, we are then informed that an important trident has been stolen, but we don't have enough time to deal with that as we are needed in Troy to help siege Troy, because, you know, I didn't have to Google that and see where Troy was. Troy was in Troy, because Troy's in Troy. Troy. Okay, so let me break something down before we continue. This game, like most real-time strategy games, has resource management in it. You're going to need to gather a lot of resources to create a lot of units and a lot of buildings. The specific materials that you have in this game are as follows: wood, gold, food, and the most important of all, favor. Favor is what's used to create mythical units, which, depending on which faction you're playing as, you collect favor a different way. The Greeks gain favor by praying at the temples. The Egyptians build obelisks and different statues which gain their favor. The Norse gain favor by doing damage and fighting things. Depending on what you fight and how much damage you do, and if you're victorious, you gain more favor. But anyway, enough about farming and what to do with certain resources and blah blah blah. Let's get back to the story and Arkantos, who's currently sailing around to get to Troy, but spots some pirates, and thus begins our first foray into building your own area, and amassing an army, which can be really fun, or just downright annoying depending on the map and enemy difficulty, but we'll get to tug of war when we get to it. After destroying the enemy's town, which is Egyptian and run by a minotaur named Kamos, for some reason, even though the minotaurs are part of the Greek faction? I don't know. We corner him and he decides to jump off a cliff. Okay. Weird. And lands on the back of Leviathan. That was an event that just happened. Anyway, we make our way towards Troy and run into a few issues there. You got any input you want to share on this, Zeus?
Huh? What? No, I'm good.
Okay. Weird cloud-looking ass. After arriving at Troy, we meet up with Ajax and Agamemnon, who explain the situation. We need to go set up camp in the nearby area and start building our forces to attack. The specific thing we need to do is go forward and attack the different forward camps that the Trojans have set up. Before we can properly siege Troy, though, we need to collect a lot of gold, and I mean a lot of gold. A chapter specifically demanding a lot of gold to collect because we need to create siege weapons, which are incredibly expensive if you don't have the right upgrades. After creating these siege weapons, we siege Troy, but are distracted because Ajax is currently in need of our help. And then we get to one of the most iconic strategies used to siege Troy. The Trojan horse, which yes, is slightly more annoying to make than you'd think. You need to defend yourself from two sides and make sure no scouts get back to the Trojan walls, or else you'll be having a large amount of enemies coming towards you. If a single scout gets back, you're going to be stormed. What I'd like to suggest is having a bunch of your soldiers patrol between the 2 points, as well as have a lot of archers set up. Once we have the Trojan horse built, this chapter ends and then begins Metal Gear Grease. I mean, the attack from inside Troy, which includes only 3 of our characters, which we need to sneak past a bunch of Cyclopses, Goliaths, and for some reason break out siege weapons that are just sitting there, guarded by a Cyclops. History ignores that part, I guess. After that, we break down the walls of Troico and trample the entire city, and then make our way home, until we come across a situation where a large number of people are being held captive, which we decide to help out, and come across Chiron, who helps guide us until the next chapter, which then we split up into 2 small camps and have to meet back up so we can make caravan between the 2 settlements. Unless you pick a specific sub-god, which allows you to create an underworld link, which can be used to send units between the 2 camps, but I digress. After beating the enemies in this area and going to a random gate, we end up in Hell, where a Cyclops named Gargensis, who we've been chasing for the past few chapters, is currently trying to open a gate, which Arcantos decides we need to stop. Which we do, and then get stuck in Hell, which is not really good for us. Thankfully though, phantoms decide to help. These phantoms are able to both light the way for us and destroy enemies in one hit, which is rather useful. After getting through a maze-like area with our characters and only ending up with the 3 main heroes surviving and a couple of phantoms, we have to offer some trophies up to the gods to see which one of them will help us out of the situation. Poseidon turns us down, but turns out Zeus is actually the one who's been trying to protect Arcantos this entire time, and he helps us get out of Hell and into the Egyptian chapter.